I'm Mr. Oliver and welcome to this graphic design tutorial. For our classes here at Happy Valley, we use a program called Photopea, which is a lot like Photoshop, but it's free online. And I'm going to show you some of the things you're able to make with it. So today we're going to start off by just the absolute basics. How to add text, how to add image, how to layer some objects. And really to get started there, we're going to start off with making some logos, some real basic designs that we're going to work on. But we'll eventually use this for a number of different projects where we'll cut out backgrounds, where we'll do blending, things like that. But right now we're just going to get over the basics. So let's jump right into Photopea. You're going to go to photopea.com to get started. So this is photopea.com, and when you get to it, you are going to click New Project in order to start. So when we click that, you are going to see a number of things. So I've got my tools all on the left side, my select tool, other things you'll learn about. On the right side are the layers that you'll be using, and then we have our modifiers at the bottom. Off to the right, we have some adds, so you can just ignore those so that we can make our project. When we select New Project, you're going to see a variety of templates, but we don't need a template for this. You're going to click Logo. And then where it says DPI, I want you to change that from 72 to 300. And then hit Create, and it'll bring up a blank canvas. So everything that we put on here, very similar to a Google drawing, will appear in our final project. So I'm going to start with text. So by clicking the letter T and then drawing a box, I can type in the box. Well, first I'm going to make my size larger so you can see it. And I'm going to type out Heron Television. And then now I'm going to highlight all of those words so that I'm able to make some changes. First, I'm going to make the box smaller so it's just centered to that. Actually, but let me highlight it, and I'm going to change my font from Deja Vu Sans. And I'm just going to scroll through until I find a font that looks nice. And this font looks cool, so I'm going to choose it. And it's still selected, so I can't really tell what it's going to look like until I hit that Select tool. And now I can see it's a white lettering with a thick black outline. It looks pretty neat. And I'm able to drag it. I'm holding Shift as I drag the bottom corner, and it's keeping it in its same dimensions. If I don't press Shift, or if I grab from one of the inside boxes, it'll make a distortion to it. OK, now that I've highlighted my text, I'm going to click on that color selector, that box there under the word window. And now I can choose any color I want. And once I click away, I can see it better. I'm not really a fan of it in red. So I'm going to highlight all of my text again. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go for a school color. Let's do a blue. And as I drag that around, the color changes just a little bit. When I hit OK and then click away, now I can see it's in more of a blue color. So I'm going to show you some effects that you can do now. So at the bottom there, I've clicked on the Effect tab, EFF, and I'm choosing Stroke. Now for this font, a stroke doesn't really work all that well. You'll see now there's this red around the lettering. But I can change different colors. And a stroke is just the line that goes outside of the lettering. So that's one option you can do. For some fonts, it looks really nice. You can change the size of the font by dragging your slider, or the size of your stroke. And you can see it's getting larger and looks thicker. I'm not a big fan of it with this one, so maybe just a really small stroke will just add just a little bit of color to it. And then I'm going to hit OK. And you'll see it just kind of has a little bit of green in there too. One other thing I love doing is drop shadowing. So this is going to make it look three-dimensional. When that's selected, I can change all sorts of features to it. But the biggest one is the distance. And as I increase the distance, you're going to see the shadow really move away from the word. So finding the right amount is perfect. And you want to do the same drop shadow to all objects on your drawing. Otherwise, it won't look like the light source is from a consistent place. So whatever you do, just look at one before you change the other drop shadowing, if I drop shadow other objects on there. All right, so that is how you do a title. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add some images. So I'm going to search for a sky background. Okay. And here's one that I can show you. And look, this picture is way too small. So if I save this, what I've done is press Control and clicked on it to save as. I'll go ahead and save it to my desktop. You notice it goes to my downloads bar on the bottom. And when I drag it in, it's going to be this tiny image. And if I make it any larger, you're going to see all the pixels. And it's really not going to work well. So I'm going to delete that image and I'm going to try again. So I am going to search for a different one. Ooh, I like those clouds. Those look nice. Now I'm going to do the same thing. Control click to save image as. Select desktop, hit save. Goes to my downloads bar also. And then now I can just drag that directly into my drawing. And this picture is going to look a little better, I think. Yeah, that looks pretty good. So I'll position that on my screen. And I now have an image onto the canvas. So the other thing is I already had a TV PNG downloaded, so I'm going to drag that because I want to make it look like there are clouds on the TV. So as I choose the size I want for it, I'm going to need to make it so that the size of the sky doesn't show up outside of the TV. So I'm just adjusting the size. You can see in the bottom corner it's sticking out just a little bit. So I go over to my Layers tab, I select the sky, and now I can reposition the sky so that none of it can be seen. And now it just looks like there are clouds on my TV. Okay, now let's look at the Layer tab. So over here on the right, whatever's on top will appear as the top layer. So as I drag that image of the TV from the layer below the screen of the sky, you can see that the sky is now on top. And as I use my selector tool, I can then change the size of objects. So whatever is selected on the right-hand side of your screen is what you're manipulating, if that makes sense. So I want the TV in front of it, and we're good. The same thing goes for text. So when I have that selector selected, and then I choose my text layer, I can select it, I can resize it, and I can move it around. So just make sure you're looking at that sidebar on the right for your layers. I'm going to have to go and search for another picture here. So in a different tab, I will search for Heron PNG, just like we did with our Google Drawings, but works a little better in Photopea. So as I search for that, I'm going to find one that I like. Now, not all images are actually PNGs. This one I know is. I can tell because it looks blacked out there. And I'm going to save this as. So save image as. I'm going to select, once I click on that, I'll save to the desktop. It's going to go to my downloads bar. When I go back to my Photopea tab, there it is. I'm going to drag this onto the drawing, and you'll see what happens. So now I have a PNG on top of it, and I can resize it. I can put it on top. Now I've got a heron flying across the TV. Pretty fitting for Heron television. And that is how you layer in Photopea. Now I'm going to do a background. So I'm going to my color picker, that square on the bottom side there. And I'm going to pick a color that I like. Let's try a green and hit OK. And then it doesn't become your background until you click on this square here and choose the paint bucket tool. Now when I click on the background, so I have to select background first, and I click on it, I should be able to change my background to a solid color. There it is. So now it's that color of green. And that one looks a little minty for me, so I'm going to change the color. So by making it a little lighter, and then hit OK, I have to repeat the process. So I hit the paint bucket, click on the background, and now I've got a new background. So I like my coloring. I think that looks pretty cool, and I am going to save this. So what I'm going to do is hit File, Save as PSD, and that goes to my downloads bar. You can see logo 1 there. Now, this is an editable file, so I could open it again. But if I want to use it, as we're going to use this in a presentation, we might use it for Heron TV, we need to export it as a JPEG. So by hitting Save as a JPEG, I'm going to do this. And you can adjust the quality. For some reason, it's slower here. Doesn't really matter, though. I'm going to go ahead and hit Save, and you'll see in just a moment what's going to happen here. It goes to my downloads bar. It takes a little bit of time because it's processing all that data. And now I'm going to open it up so you can see it. So here's my logo JPEG. And when I open it with Preview, you can just see it as an image file. And there it is. And it is a high quality image. It is not going to distort as I get any. You can see I can go way in on it, and as high of a quality of an image I use is going to be as quality as the image will look. But the text is in high definition. I could print this on a full-size poster if I wanted. Now I'm going to take my PSD also, because when you create Photopeas, the most important thing is that you save them as PSDs and as JPEGs. So I'm making a folder on my desktop. I'd like you guys to all have one too, called Photopea. If you're on a guest computer, probably your name in Photopea, or make sure this is inside your folder. And I'm going to drag those into that folder so that when I want to access my logo again, I can edit it as a PSD, or if it's the logo that I want to use, I can then use that image in other applications. So there you have it. That's Photopea. It is a free version of Photoshop that has lots of possibilities, and that's just for getting started. So just make sure you always save your PSDs so that you can re-edit them later and put them in a place where you're going to be able to access them and find them again. So save them in a Photopea folder, keep all your files organized, and you'll be able to keep editing these. So if you're a teacher or a student and this is something helpful for you, check out our channel. We've got all sorts of tutorials on how to use Final Cut Pro and other graphic design and video and photo tutorials. So hope you enjoyed it, and we'll catch you in the next video. Have a great day, Herons.